The Tia airdrop, over $15,000. The Pyth airdrop, over $10,000. The Jito airdrop, over $15,000. The Lavana airdrop, which just came out, this was over $1,000. And for some of these drops, like for Tia and Jito, some people received six figures, like over $100,000. No, this is not made up. Yes, this was free money. These are crypto airdrops. What's the catch? The catch is that these guys were prepared. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys my complete airdrop guide for 2024. This is going to be everything that you need to know to make it rain. I'm going to need you guys to buckle in, strap up, and be ready. This is going to be a long one, but it's going to be information packed and give you guys everything that you need to know in order to make that crypto life-changing money people talk about. In this video, I will cover over the airdrops you can claim now. I will also cover the airdrops you can prepare for now. I will share with you guys how you can spot more potential airdrops, as well as how to maximize your airdrop allocation. But first, if you guys are new to this channel, this is Drake on Digital. I talk all things crypto, DeFi, altcoins, you name it. If this is your cup of tea, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. That way you guys are notified every time we make a new one. A lot of this content is time sensitive, so if you are not watching it or getting onto it quickly, you may miss the opportunity. All right, so first things first, here are the airdrops you can claim right now. The first one is Namada. All you had to do is stake some Osmo or some Atom. The next one is Lavana. All you had to do is make a couple of swaps on Injective or on Osmosis, or provide liquidity, or simply just holding one of the Wrecked Dragon NFTs. The next one is the Jito airdrop. All you simply had to do is liquid stake at least one SOL, and if you staked more than 100 SOL, you actually got a massive airdrop, like a six-figure airdrop. If you simply just staked one SOL and you did it with multiple wallets, each wallet is eligible, and you have about $10,000 to $15,000 just waiting in your wallet right now. The next one is Jupiter. Jupiter, all you had to do is make a couple of swaps on their DEX. But if you qualify, you can go ahead and claim and see if you have some tokens. The claim is not open right now, but you can come and see if you qualify for the JUP airdrop. There are going to be more snapshots in the future, so make sure you are trading on this protocol. It's a DEX aggregator on Salana, so it already gives you the best prices. The next airdrop is the ZKF airdrop. I just saw this one out on Twitter. Basically, this was if you were messing around with the Polygon ZK EVM. And if you were on this channel, we did an airdrop guide for that a couple of months ago. So you will qualify for something like this if you made some transactions on there. So this claim will open in a few days, depending on when you view this video. Next one is frame.xyz. All you simply had to do was trade a couple of NFTs or trade any NFTs, and you qualified for this airdrop. The first protocol you want to use is going to be Unisat. Unisat is a DEX as well as a marketplace similar to something like OpenSea. The DEX is currently kind of token gated. When you're using Unisat, you're actually going to earn more points, and when you get some points, you can actually access the DEX. But right now, you can use the marketplace and you can also inscribe different tokens. I recommend doing both of these so that you can potentially qualify for a Unisat airdrop. This Unisat OG pass was actually given out to early users, and as you can see here, this is trading at 0.59 Bitcoin. So call it $25,000. I mean, that's a pretty penny, because why not? So the steps you need to take in using Unisat is simply buying a couple of the NFTs or some of the BRC20 tokens and making some inscriptions. I would recommend just buying some of the BRC20s on this DEX. The main reason being is that this isn't the main marketplace for Ordinals and whatnot. So you're going to get the best prices on BRC20s, and that's what it specializes in. So buying a couple of these, you can select the tokens that you want to grab. You can also kill two fish with one stone by grabbing some of these track tokens. I'll explain this a little bit later in the video, but there are going to be some airdrops for track holders. So the first thing is simply buying something on the marketplace, buying and selling to stack some points, which the points will allow you to get into the BRC20 swap and potentially a airdrop in the future. This protocol doesn't have a token, so it's highly likely they will have a airdrop to early users. The second thing is to inscribe on Unisat. There are multiple ways to do this. The easiest way is probably going to go with a BRC20, and to figure out the ticker and what you want to mint, you can actually go to BRC20 and then you can select the ones that are in progress. Don't just go nuts and ham and be like, yeah, I'm going to mint all these. Gas is definitely a factor in this, and it will cost you a boatload of money if you're just going out there and minting everything on a whim, especially when gas fees are extremely high right now. I like to go to mempool.space in order to see what's going on there. Mempool.space basically just shows the going rate of gas fees, but they also have some recommendations if you don't want to go to that on Unisat. So let's take, for example, I want to mint one of these. Do not, I repeat, do not touch this number right here. This is just allowing us to mint this random ticker. The reason why we selected this is that this one is still minting. And I mean, me personally, I wouldn't do this one unless there's like a community behind it because there's so many of them. This is basically just like minting a meme coin type of thing. But you would hit next, and then it would give you the details on the inscription. So it would basically say, hey, it's 159 sats per VByte, 163, 171. And if we were going to do at 163, the cost to mint this is going to be about $13. This will give us 1 point, but this is something to keep in mind with this. Try to do it when gas is low, and preferably do it with tickers that have a strong community around it and that something is actually being developed. Be careful just minting any and random thing just on a whim. You're going to get completely roasted and waste some gas. Even though you're going for an airdrop, you still want to go about it strategically and preferably make money doing these airdrop things. So that is Unisat. The second thing you want to mess around with and use is Ordinals wallet. Ordinals wallet, just buy and sell a couple of different collections or some of these different tickers. Me personally, I would skew towards the bitmap or the tap or the track token on Unisat. The reason for that is because that is another part of our airdrop. Benny already rumored at giving a airdrop to people who are holding GIB and the tap token. And he is one of the strong builders over in the Bitcoin and Ordinals ecosystem. And Track is kind of the token that is, you're going to look at it like the graph protocol. It indexes all this data in order to allow us to do this thing we call Ordinals. So think of a library just with junk laying all around. Track basically indexes the data and makes it organized. So if you're walking into a library, books all over the floor, enter Track. Now all the books are clean, uniform, alphabetical order. That's what Track does, and that does that for Bitcoin, which is a really important protocol. In my opinion, a multi-billion-dollar market cap type of thing. It's currently only around 100 million. But holding some Track, you will get some airdrops for the TAP token. Here's just kind of like one of the snapshots in the Discord. TAP airdrop for Track holders already happened? No. And he already mentioned in several other ones. I just wanted to share that one because I thought it was funny. But there's going to be an airdrop for it. And then he also rumored and sent a text out like, will there be Track airdrops for GIB holders? So maybe GIB, their little meme coin, it's another governance token. It's a cool one. He's actually going to be bringing utility for it. It may also get some airdrops as well. So adding GIB and Track to that list. But using Ordinals wallet will probably allow you to be enlisted for a airdrop if there is one in the future. They've already airdropped Pixel Pepes to early users that simply just use the platform back in the early days. Pixel Pepes at its peak was worth over $25,000. Literally just for using a protocol. The next one is going to be using Magic Eden, making a couple of trades, buying some Ordinals on here, maybe even some of the BRC20s or some rare sats. Mess around with this stuff, use this exchange, and even collect some of your daily gems. You have this reward section, just claim them. I mean, it's free to do. You connect your wallet and you have your own profile. These gems may or may not be worth something. As always, time will tell, but make some activity on here. I'm sure if they have a token, it will be airdropped to users. Magic Eden is multi-chain, so this will also be a airdrop for other chains. The last one is have at least one bitmap. You can get one of these bitmaps over on Ordinals wallet, which is right here. You view the collection. You can get it on Unisat. It's on several different exchanges and dexes. The reason for this is they've already given a couple of airdrops. The first one was .com. .com was basically just given to anyone that had a bitmap. So if you had one bitmap, you got 50 of these tokens. These are currently priced over $260 for 50 tokens. It's $5.50 per token. The other airdrop that was given out was BMP. These tokens are currently worth about 2 cents, but if you had one bitmap and you minted one, or if you just had one, you got at least 1,000 tokens. And if you had sub 10K, you got 10,000 tokens. So basically you got an airdrop ranging from $20 to over $200, just depending on the quality of bitmap that you have. For some, they're like, wait, bitmaps, they're 0.07 or 0.007 Bitcoin. And they're like, that's like $300. Like, that's a horrible airdrop. Well, we were minting these things for about $1 back in the day. I know they seem a little bit pricey now. I've said it several times on this channel. I think bitmap is going to be an extremely strong trade. I can see these trading at least 0.05 Bitcoin to at least 0.1 Bitcoin if it does end up portraying out to what it's looking to be, which is basically the metaverse built on Bitcoin. But again, not financial advice. At least having one of these, I'm sure there are going to be other tokens and collections that will be airdropped to any of the bitmap holders, mainly because it's kind of like the building ground for any of these other protocols or metaverse plays to build upon. Now, the next one has to do with the Cosmos airdrops. There are several tokens of the Cosmos, but in particular, I narrowed it down to a couple that I believe are the most capital efficient. One is Cosmos. This is Atom. The next is Tia. You have Osmo, you have Kuji, Hua Hua, Stars, and Secret. Each of these you can either get on a exchange or a DEX, but for the most part, you can get some Cosmos on an exchange like Coinbase. Once you have some Cosmos, you can send that to Osmosis DEX, and that will allow you to buy any of the Tia, some Osmo, some Kuji, some Hua Hua Stars. You can buy any of those on Osmosis. The easiest way to get Atom into a custodial wallet is going to be through Kepler. Kepler is also going to be where you stake all of this stuff. But here's an example of the dashboard for some of the different tokens that you can stake here. You can stake some Cosmos, Osmosis, some Tia, but this is going to be the place where you want to go in order to stake your tokens. There are two others that you have to use for like Kuji and for Hua Hua. But for right now, these are going to be the main tokens that you can use here. So Cosmos can be staked on here, Osmosis, and Tia. So here's an example of Cosmos. Let's say I bought my tokens on Coinbase. All I would do is I would hit deposit. This would allow me to deposit into my Kepler wallet that I already set up. You're going to need to set up your Kepler wallet, and you can send your tokens here. Make sure you only send Atom tokens to this one. Once you send Atom tokens here, you can then go ahead and decide to stake them, which you simply select the person you want to delegate to. When you're delegating, do not delegate to anyone like Coinbase Custody or Kraken. Don't delegate to an exchange. Also, delegate outside of the top 20. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, outside of that. So scroll down, I don't know, something like this. And preferably look for a node or someone to delegate to that is a part of the ecosystem. So an example would be like Posthuman or Prism. These guys, they already said if you delegate to them, you're going to get a token. So delegating to Prism will entitle you to a couple of other airdrops for other protocols that delegate to Cosmos stakers, and for Prism in particular when they look to drop their token. Said you delegate to them, it's like a delegate to earn type of thing. The best way to do it is you just click on it, you hit stake, the amount of tokens you want to stake. Before you click that button, understand you got a 21-day locking period. Keep that in mind when you're staking with these things. The next thing, after you delegated, important step right here. Make sure you vote and play around with governance. A lot of people don't vote on these different proposals. Highly recommend you do a voting proposal or participate in governance. This has actually made me about $40,000 to $50,000 extra last bull run just for simply voting on some proposals. All you got to do when you're staking it, this one's not staked, but it'll allow you to vote. You click vote and then you say yes or no, and then you submit a transaction. That's it. And if you're trying to get the other tokens like TIA and Osmosis, you're going to have to go to a DEX like Osmosis. So if you go to app.osmosis.zone and you go under the assets tab, this is where you can go ahead and deposit some of the Cosmos or the Atom that you just bought. So you have swap, assets, stake. All you do is you hit deposit and you can say, hey, I want to deposit some of my Cosmos tokens into Osmo. So now once you do that, it'll take like 10 seconds to get over there. And then you go ahead and swap some of your Atom into whatever token that you want. You can do Osmo, you can do some Juno, you can do some Ion, you can do a couple of different tokens. Just look for the tokens that you're wanting to get in particular. So in this case, Atom, TIA, Osmo, Kuji, etc. And now once you have those tokens, under the assets, it'll show up here. You can now withdraw out of this. So you hit withdrawal and it'll send it to your Juno address. So once you have it under your Juno address, you then come back to Kepler and then you can go ahead and delegate and do your thing there. For Chihuahua and for Kujira, you're going to have to use these two protocols. Chihuahua is chihuahua.omniflix.co/stake. I shared this on the Twitter or on the tweet, so I'll put that in the description below so you have that link. And the next one is going to be blue.kujira.network. This is where you can stake your Kuji tokens once you get those. And simply you just delegate, understand the bonding timeframes, and understand when you're depositing them. The reason why I added Kujira and Hua or have them on there is mainly because Hua or Chihuahua is the meme hub. So if there's other meme coins that launch, typically if they want to pay homage and get a strong community, they will go ahead and give free tokens to the other already strong community in order to leverage that and build their own. It's the same thing for all these other protocols as well. Now, if you do have some extra capital, here are some others that I would recommend grabbing. Injective, me personally, I didn't add it on the list initially or on the first one because it's not as capital efficient. It has pumped a lot and the price is a lot higher than it was. So it's almost like you may be better off throwing that amount you would invest in Injective into 3 of the other chains. Like, let's say, for example, $1,000 in Injective or $1,000 into some Cosmos, TIA, and Osmo. In my opinion, it would be better spent on those 3 instead of just at Injective. The next one is Ion. This is basically a meme coin from Sunny Agarwal. There's been so many rumors of different utilities to be given to it. It doesn't have a utility yet. Maybe it'll have a utility in the future. Time will tell, but this is just one of those to keep on the radar. It's probably going to be like one of those qualifiers. It was one of the early Cosmos tokens that was airdropped to anyone staking Atom. So just keep it on the radar. And the token used to be stinking like $20,000. So maybe it could even be a good trade. So just having this, and you can actually go to the Ion DAO and vote on some of the proposals as well, if there are any that do arise. And then the last one is Neutron, NTRN. This is basically a token that is the first one to leverage Cosmos security as their validating system. So Atom is basically used as its shared security model. Neutron is mainly used for governance now. So this is important because it's the first one to do it. Any other protocols or projects that launch on Neutron that want to leverage Atom's security, they would do it here and most likely airdrop to anyone that is just simply holding Neutron. Neutron was also airdropped if you simply had some Osmo and some Atom staked. Just something to keep in mind. So since we're talking about Cosmos, the next one to cover is a protocol on TIA. Celestia, the TIA token. You remember, we were talking about the Jito airdrop earlier in this video. It gave $10,000 to over $100,000 to some people. You have a protocol just like this, built on TIA. It's called Milky Way. It's a liquid stake protocol. Not financial advice, but go ahead and stake a little bit of TIA here. Liquid stake it. Just use the protocol. Simply got to do is go to the app, just liquid stake a couple of TIA tokens, and come back and maybe you'll have a nice size airdrop. They've already rumored several times in the Discord, like, yeah, we're going to have a token. Like, probably, yeah, we will. And we're going to reward early users. So those are just ding. Those are bells that should be going off in your head like, okay, play around with the protocol. Already got the hints. I'll take your hint. And once you get those TIA tokens, go to the Discover tab. This will show you some stuff. It's probably a really good idea to provide liquidity on Osmosis with some of that milk TIA and that TIA. So the liquid stake TIA and regular TIA. Because one, providing liquidity on Osmosis, other protocols actually look at that as like a snapshot factor to airdrop people. And two, this could also be a multiplier on Milky Way if you were a liquid staker as well as one who provided liquidity. You can also LP on Injective, which is probably a good idea to do as well. So you can get a couple of snapshots if you're playing on Injective. They don't have it for the Milk TIA token, but you can do it with some regular TIA. Just something to keep in mind, especially when you're using Helix. Helix is basically a dApp that doesn't have a token built on Injective. So just using these different DeFi protocols, it's a really good idea. The last Cosmos ecosystem token I want to cover has to do with El Dorado and Maya protocol. Maya protocol is already released. They have the Maya token as well as the Cacao token. Both of these were basically airdropped to anyone who provided liquidity on ThorSwap or ThorChain and made a couple of trades. You basically got the token for free. Which is, well, hey, free money. Everyone likes that. You also, if you were playing around with ThorChain, you got Xrune. You also got Thor token. You got XDeFi. You got a bunch of other tokens. And the reason for that, it was a early and vibrant community. And it still is. I see the same happening on Maya protocol. El Dorado already said, they hinted at, a token for anyone who is simply swapping and providing liquidity. I really think it's a good idea to do this, mainly because this is one of those chains that is ripe for growth. So this is one of those you want to keep on the radar and be active and engaged with. Anyone who provided liquidity as well as made a couple of swaps already got airdropped this gold token, the GLD token. This is basically just given out for free. And if you watch one of the videos I made a couple of weeks ago, I explained to you like, hey, it's probably a really good idea to provide liquidity because these guys are going to be airdropping their token. The amount you got, like if you provided liquidity for like $3,000, you probably got like $800 in GLD tokens, which really isn't that bad at all. And in fact, there's probably going to be some more in the future, not financial advice. El Dorado, they did say they're going to be giving a token to early users. Really good idea to use this. Now let's go and get into some of the Salana protocols. There's actually a list of these. I'll drop the tweet in the description below. For the sake of the time in the video, we'll run through these quick. The first one is Camino Finance. This is basically just like a money market on Aave. You can lend out some tokens, you can borrow some tokens, and they do get a little bit creative in the fact that you can borrow and lend some LP tokens. So kind of a little bit of a yield on yield type of thing. So it's kind of cool. The next one is parcel.co. This one is pretty cool. This is basically allowing you to go long or short any particular real estate market. So if you're extremely bullish like on Miami or extremely bullish on San Francisco or different, I don't know, towns, cities, you basically can speculate and go long or short on these. They do have a referral program and a points program going on, which leads me to believe actually that they're going to have a token. So there is no speculation on this. So early users and anyone who stacks some points, they are going to get a token. Use code DRAKE, D-R-A-K-E, and you'll actually get a 5% bonus on your points for when you're trading and swapping. So when you go to parcel.co, you'll be able to see all that there and enter under the referral program. So the referrals right here, and then you simply type in the code and you'll get a 5% boost. The next one is tensor.trade. This is basically a marketplace on Salana. You can buy and sell some of the different NFT collections on this marketplace. If you have the money and the budget in order to grab a Tensorian, you can get a Tensorian as well. The Tensorians are a part of the program in order to farm some points and get some points for that. So if you can afford one of the Tensorians, they're about 107 SOL. You can do that as well and participate in the points program. This marketplace does not have a token yet, so this is definitely one to keep on the radar, because it's like extremely likely they're gonna have a token. Now the next ones to use are Driftide. This is basically a leverage trading protocol where you can go long or short different tokens like some TIA, some SOL, etc. And it looks a little bit like this. You can basically go long or short any of the different protocols. Then you have something like Sega Finance. These guys are a tokenless protocol, but this allows you to participate in creative option strategies. So if you have some idle USDC and you want to use it into a protocol and have the option to potentially get ETH and get paid to do it, you can participate in one of these vaults. So an example is like, hey, I'm comfortable buying ETH at a 10% discount. So if ETH is trading at 2 grand and it goes to 1800, my USDC would be sold and I would receive ETH back instead. However, if ETH doesn't hit 1800, I receive a 27% APY on my deposited stablecoins or my deposited tokens in there. So it's kind of a little creative strategy where you get paid to potentially buy the dip, and then you can also have a chance to get some cheap ETH. So it's a little cool protocol, and they are tokenless, so keep them on the radar. The next one is Drip House. They allow you to claim some of these droplets every 6 hours or so. I already claimed, but basically when you go on here, you connect your wallet, and it will allow you to collect some drops. After you collect some drops, give it out to some collections, maybe buy some collections and whatnot, play around with it. You also have Mayan Finance. This is a bridge. If you want to bridge into the Solana ecosystem, use Mayan Finance and you can bridge from a couple of other chains. And then you have MarginFi. This is what Drip House looks like. See, I already claimed mine. I can't claim any. But you would basically be able to claim some drops and give them out here. MarginFi is basically another one of those protocols that allows you to swap different tokens. You can lend out different tokens. You can borrow. It's basically just a multifaceted protocol that you can use. And they don't have a token, so it's a really good idea to use that protocol. Next, we're going to hit into Doge Chain. Now, Doge Chain, there are a couple of protocols on here. The first one is Doge Market. Doge Market does not have a token, but it's probably a pretty good idea to, I don't know, play around with a little bit of Doge, buy some of the Ordinals, buy some of the DRC20 tokens. Just play around with a couple of these things here. If they do end up giving a token, great. If not, well, you got in early grabbing some of these Doginals, especially if this is if these inscriptions and DRC20s end up being something big in the future. I'm bullish on Doginals and DRC20s. I think they will do something, but obviously time will tell. The second thing is, like, if you're simply holding Doge or one of these anchor tokens, for some reason you just randomly get airdrop tokens from other people and other DRC20s. In my opinion, the reason for this is they're trying to build up their holder base and leverage it like, oh, this dude holds Doge and he also holds my coin. It's a good coin type of thing. If you get those random airdrops, you can hold some of them or you simply just sell them. Like, it's literally just free money that rains in your wallet and it costs pennies to buy and sell it. It's like point .2 Doge, which is going to cost you like a penny, 2 pennies. The other Doge Chain protocol to use is going to be drc-20.org. You can buy some Doge, buy some Ordinals. You can inscribe on here. Just mess around with it, interact, similar to like on Unisat or on Ordinals wallet. Just play around with the different things here, use the different features. And if they do have a token in the future, it's extremely likely, highly likely, super likely that any of the early users will get a token. Now, the next set of airdrops have to do with restaking protocols and eigenlayer. Basically what restaking is it's allowing you to take some staked ETH and use that ETH to stake it on for another chain. So you earn dual rewards and it's being used to secure the next chain. This is more capital intensive, so if you don't have a lot of capital, you can pass on this one, but I do believe they are going to have a sizable airdrop. They have a couple of protocols specializing in this, like Renzo, Puffer Finance, Kelp, and Swell. Me personally, I like Renzo the best, just based on what it's offering, and you are going to be getting a liquid token. Most of these you currently can't withdraw right now, but there is speculation that the token is going to be very pricey. So playing around with this, it's probably going to be a good idea when they do have an airdrop. Yes, they are going to have an airdrop. Swell Network, for example, they already hinted or are giving out pearls, which are exchangeable for their token in the future. And the next one I do want to cover has to do with the layer 2s. There are several layer 2s for this. You got Starknet, ZK Sync, Manta, Linea, as well as Scroll, and I didn't list on here, but Base. In my opinion, these are important to use. The reason for that is these are very likely to drop a token in the future, similar to what Arbitrum and Optimism did. If you remember the size of those airdrops, those were 5 to 6 figure airdrops for several people. But just scrolling through and comparing the different chains, you have those on the list, and you can see a lot of people are actually coming over to farm some of these. Typically, the app chains are going to be the largest airdrop, so it's a very good idea to bridge over and use these. If you need the full airdrop guides, go on to my YouTube channel, search the airdrop playlist, and you can type in that particular chain, and you can actually just simply binge watch a couple of them, and you'll get a lot of airdrop content. Now, if you're trying to spot more airdrop opportunities, what you can do is follow airdrop accounts on Twitter to see what they're talking about. You can also go to defilama.com/airdrops, and you can see some of the tokenless protocols. Like here's one, for example, Kelp DAO, or even Renzo protocol. These are different protocols that are newer and they don't have a token. Typically when a protocol, especially if it has a lot of funding and it doesn't have a token, it's highly likely that it will have one. However, it's not always the case. It's not 100% the case. And the best thing to do is visit their Twitter and then go into their Telegram or their Discord group, type in airdrop, search to see if that is potentially in there, or even search if they're going to have a token. If you see words of we're rewarding early users, or we plan on decentralizing the protocol, those are buzzwords for token. Just keep that in mind when you're searching for it. And then of course you can follow some other YouTube channels or Twitter accounts that specialize in airdrops. I do cover airdrops from time to time, so if that's your type of thing, you will also get some airdrop content here. Now let's get to the size of the airdrop allocation. This is important. If you want to get an airdrop, you can do that. But if you want an airdrop with size and build that, here are some tips in order to do that. The first is have multiple wallets. I recommend doing multiple wallets because this will multiply the size of your airdrop. An example of this is if you're staking 300 Atom, instead of just throwing that in one wallet, split that up into 3 different wallets. If you split it up into 3 different wallets and the protocol ends up airdropping, you get 3 different airdrops because it goes to each different wallet. Now, if it does an allocation based on the size, then that's different, but you didn't get diluted in any way because you still have 3 different wallets, same amount of Cosmos token. However, do not be greedy on this. If you're like, oh, I'll do 300 different wallets with one Cosmos token per, don't do that. Like, if you're too greedy and they do a snapshot cutoff, like has to have 25 Cosmos tokens, then you're going to get roasted. Like, you won't get any airdrop. So don't be too greedy, but spread them out. Second is be consistent. Do this multiple times. Like when you're transacting and making transactions on multiple chains, do it multiple times. Like have a schedule, like once a week, I'm going to do this, or once every other week. Make sure you put this into your schedule, stick to the schedule, and keep the schedule. Third is vote in governance. This one is really underappreciated. A lot of people don't even add this one in as a factor, but governance, in my opinion, is a huge thing because a lot of people aren't doing it. So the people that do get it get multiples on their airdrop. Fourth is keep organized. Here's an example of the spreadsheet that I use in order to stay organized. I list the protocol, I list the chain it's on. If it's an LP pool, I'll do token A, token B, the amount deposited, the particular wallet address, and the date of interaction. The date of interaction is important because if you're like, oh, the last time I interacted was 3 months ago, it's probably a good time to mess around with that protocol and update it. Chains will use this as one of the factors like, hey, is this a Sybil wallet? Is it active? So it's always good to be active on multiple chains and stick to the schedule. Fifth is to be alert. Like there's no point in putting in all this work if you are just going to simply skip out on the airdrop. You need to go the full race. There's no use in running a race and just stopping at the finish line. Be active, join the protocol Discord or the Telegram, follow a Twitter account that follows that ecosystem closely, and stay tuned for that type of stuff. That way, when there is the drop, you are there to claim it. If you miss that claim, all that work you put in is basically for almost nothing, which leads me into the sixth. Expect nothing and be grateful if you get an airdrop. At the end of the day, if the protocol doesn't airdrop anything, that's okay. You're still getting ahead of the rest of the 99% that's not even doing this stuff. They don't learn how to use an LP pool. They don't learn how to stake. They don't learn how to use a DEX. They don't understand how options work. They don't use this stuff, so they don't understand it. This will put you ahead of the rest so you can be a more intelligent investor and know what you're investing in. If you guys are still here, you made it to the end. If you implement these strategies, it's likely going to make it rain for you into 2024. So if you guys want to get some airdrops, make sure you guys implement these strategies and prepare now. Do not sleep on this. Make sure you guys are implementing these strategies and practicing them and putting them into play. And you will see the airdrops coming in. And if you guys want more airdrop content, you guys can check out the previous videos I made. And I also drop some airdrops that I don't even share on YouTube or on Twitter in my private Discord group, as well as some other exclusive content that I don't share on YouTube. So if you're serious about getting an edge in crypto and want to join a exclusive group, you guys can do that in the description below. But please only consider joining if you are serious. If you are just doing this kind of for fun, we'd rather not have the noise. And there's plenty of free content on YouTube and on Twitter that you can consume. Let's go ahead and hit you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 15 verses 1. A gentle answer turn away wrath, but a harsh words stir up anger. Be good, be righteous, monitor your words.